Okay, here's what's happening. I've thinned this out, probably 1/3 thinner and 2/3 clear. And my thinking is, now on a piece like this, you notice we got a vent here, a vent here, and a vent here. That's what I want to have the clear on, so that the panel line color will work best in it. And then over here, there's vents here and vents here. But it's going to be impossible to paint this and not get it everywhere else. So I think that the smart thing for me to do, otherwise it's going to look kind of blotchy, and I don't want this, I'm not doing camo or anything like that. And I don't want it to look like I tried it and failed. I'm just going to paint the whole thing with the clear gloss. And then we'll do our panel line color thing, and then we'll do it with the flat clear later. And I'm not going to be artistic in my videoing. I'm just going to set the camera up and let it run. And you're just going to have to, in other words, I'm not going to be slipping on the macro lens and all that kind of stuff. So you're just going to have to do a lot of assuming what's going on here. Anyway, let's get going here and see what we can do. I'm guessing about 13 hours has passed here now since we sprayed our clear coat. And what I also did was I reinforced the rudder I put a bead of CA medium just down each side there. I'll put the macro lens on, and I was looking at it a while ago, right after I did it, and you can see it if you look close, but I was so scared that if I accidentally bumped the rudder, it would too easily snap off. I would far sooner that it stayed on and bent, and I could straighten it, than have it snap off. Anyway, I'll put the macro lens on here and we'll have a nice close look. Now you can kind of see there where the CA glue is sort of built up a little bit, but I think that once that's all painted and we're looking at it, normally, you might say, I don't think we're going to see that extra CA. I was afraid it might look like a glob of glue there, but you can kind of see it along the side of the rudder where it sort of ran down. But yeah, it's not going to spoil anything. Now I don't mind if I get the white paint on the stern of the boat here. Probably going to take 2 coats because this is the thinned version of the white. Okay, I'm realizing here that it's too difficult to do on camera. I'm going to have to take it off its little podium here, and yeah, I'm going to have to hold it with my hands up close to my face, so I'll show it to you after I'm done. About half an hour's passed here now, and you can see where when I tried to paint the top of the tiller here, I was using the thinned version of the white, and I guess I had too much loaded in my brush, and when I was just trying to paint the top, it sort of, you might say, suddenly wicked itself down and around onto the deck tan here. So I'm just going to see if I can't just take some deck tan and paint over top of that white without completely burying the tiller. Maybe I better turn it just a little bit more here. Okay. All right, let's just leave well enough alone here. Now, I think the Trumpeter did not get this little motor launch, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe it was the Admiral's gig, or who knows. I don't think it's to scale. I think that it should have been bigger, because here we've got a rowboat which is the same size. I just want to, just for the fun of it, just very carefully here, see if I can't just measure this. Okay, so it is almost 1 inch long. Just a couple of thousandths of an inch short of 1 inch, so it should be fairly easy to, figure out what the length would have been in real life. Okay, so this should be really easy. Let's go 200 inches, because you multiply the length of this, which would say an inch long, times 200, which is the scale of our hood. So 200 divided by 12 equals. So it would have been 16.5 feet long? No, it would have had to have been a lot longer than that. Okay, now is this one going to be a little easier to put together? Yeah, let's put a little pressure on there. I don't know if I should glue that or not. Maybe I should take it apart and just put a tiny little bit of extra thin just along the inside of the gunnel there. I'll just check and see how hard is it to pull apart. Oh, you know what? It doesn't need glue either. All right, so what's happening here now is I'm checking the drawing that came with the book that Stefan Drembinski did on the hood, at least one of them, and I find the little boats in question. They're right here and here, and my goodness, the little boat that we just measured, it does look like a little floating bathtub. So then I looked in the book here. Let me get rid of this white paper because it's throwing the exposure off. Here's the boat in question. And if you read, it says starboard side 16-foot fast motor dinghy. So I was wrong. Well, that's all right. That's part of the fun of this. You're learning something new. I mean, that's the fun of making a model like this. You can do a little bit of research. So yeah, I was wrong again. Now some of you will have noticed that at the end of the description in these videos it used to say, "This is not a tutorial." And I've put that at the beginning of the description because I realized that in all likelihood, that's the most important thing the viewer understands. This is not a tutorial. I'm not teaching you how to build a model. There's some really good model teachers out there, and you know who they are. That's not me. We're just sort of doing a lot of experimenting. Oh, every once in a while I'll get it right, and I guess that's encouraging, but yeah, this is not a tutorial. We're just having fun here. If you're learning anything, it's from my mistakes. Now, as long as we're talking about mistakes, I'm trying to get the light to reflect off of the side here. And when I was painting that earlier, I guess about 16 hours ago now, maybe 17 hours ago, you could see that it sort of was slumping. In other words, I was putting it on way too thick. But because it was clear, most of the time I was seeing it like this. I very rarely was able to get the light just right so that it would, show me what I was actually doing. Inexperience, I guess. Anyway, we were kind of lucky because I guess you might say that the slump shrunk when it dried. So I don't think we're going to see that once the flat clear coat is painted on. All right, let's see what we can do here now with this panel line accent color. I suppose you're supposed to shake this up. Anyway, yeah, it must have some kind of pigment in it, otherwise it's not going to work, right? Okay, let's see what we can do here. Okay, what I've done here is I've adjusted everything so that the grating is more or less horizontal in all directions. And if I had have not, what would have happened before, the paint would have been just flat. And the panel line color would have wicked its way up into the flat area. And the whole idea, and we're just going to find out now if this is going to work, of painting the clear gloss as it's supposed to keep the paint from wicking out of the area that you want it to be, the panel line color to be. So, so here we go. Now, I don't think we're going to want to be flooding this on. I'm just going to try it just a little bit here and see what happens. I will put the macro lens on once I get the hang of this. I think I may be putting too much on here. Sorry if I'm going to be getting my hand in your way here. So it's got to get just a little bit up here, I believe. Okay, now let's not overdo it. I'll try the next one. I'm not going to put any more on the applicator. I think there's probably plenty in there. Okay, I'll do one more here. Maybe I'll start at this side this time. Yeah, you can see it. You can see how this would work really good in panel lines. And that's the whole idea, but right now I'm kind of using it to, you might say, to paint the area. Wonder how long this takes to dry. Guess we'll find out. Okay, I'll put the macro lens on and we'll do the last one. Okay, before we get going here, the first three windows I was noticing that there was some, you might say, really glossy pooling going on in places. It was, in other words, it was blotchy. So I tried a Q-tip, like a cotton bud, and it removed so much that I couldn't tell the difference between here and here. So I put more of the panel line color on again, and then I took this little brush and I kind of dabbed the highlights, and it seems to me that it's a little bit more even right now. It could be that when it dries, it would have dried even, but I was afraid that it wouldn't. Anyway, let's just do the last one here now, very carefully. I think I got too much on there. See, what I'm trying to do is get the grating, if you want to call it that, all filled up. Yeah, I do believe that I've got everything. Now, this is what I did before, and it seemed to work. I've got to hold this down here. I don't want to take too much off. Now, oops. Okay, let's just leave that, see what happens. I'll swing it around here and I'll readjust the camera. I don't know. I do believe that first window, or vent rather, I might have put too much on, and yet on the other hand, maybe not. Maybe that is the way to do it. Well, I do believe that it's on there, but I think this first one, there's too much here. See if I maybe pick some back up. No, it's not working. Well, we'll just leave that one. There's another window on the extreme right. You can't see it. I'll move everything over here. And I'll try and do it the same way as this one right here, so that it matches. Now, I just looked up into the monitor, and it appears that there's dry spots. How could that be? Did I maybe not put enough on? Maybe that first window was done correctly, and the two larger ones, I didn't put it on heavy enough. You notice how it's kind of wicking up on the edge here. Take one of Tennessee Jim's mini Q-tips here and see if we can get rid of that. Well, let's just let that dry and see what happens. These are the last 4 windows. They were on the other side. I didn't show them being done, but what I did do was you might say flooded it on just a little bit heavier, and it almost looks better. So it could be I just wasn't putting enough on. Once again, we'll see how it looks after it's dried. Probably about an hour or more has passed now while I edited out those last few scenes that you just saw. And these are the ones that we did first. Then we moved across and we did these. And these are the ones that I said I put a little extra on. And I'm thinking they look the best, but I want to let this completely dry before I start on this part right here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Like I say, I want to let it completely dry out, and then we'll know what it's going to look like. I'm kind of happy with it. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with it. I guess I'll know for sure once we get the flat clear on, covering everything up. Okay, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.